You've just hit level 80 in Punishing Gray Raven. Now what? That's a great question. Thanks for checking out this video, and that's what we're going to talk about today. So if you're like me and you started a new account of Punishing Gray Raven in 2023, or you've just been following along on my adventure, I've just recently broken over the 80 level barrier, and I just wanted to talk about what's next and how this changes the game's experience. And I also want to give you 5 things to focus on post level 80. So let's talk about it. So as you can see here, I have just hit level 83. Now, it took me a while to get to level 80, but when I did, it was just at the weekly reset. So on the Monday and Tuesday of this week's weekly reset, I managed to do a few more guide missions, which you can't see anymore actually, because after I did those guide missions, it bumped me up to level 83, and I am now an instructor. Guys, I did it! I did it! I'm not a novice anymore! We broke through! We've made it! There's still so much more to go. The first and most obviously exciting part about hitting level 80 within Punishing Gray Raven is now you can finally max level your character and skills from the basic level up methods. So as you can see here on Live Imperia, if I go into train, if I want to go and level up, I can't. We finally hit the 80 out of 80. I have promoted her to the max of hero. And then for the skills, they have all hit max, which is expensive to do, but if you're like me and you've been trying to be more selective with your characters and raising them, you should be able to get a good amount of levels into your skills. I'm still sitting on 221 points. To be honest, I've had more issues with cogs than I have with skill points at this stage. So now we're going to talk a little bit about characters and where you should expect to see some of your characters by level 80. You should expect to have something like this, where you've got 2 characters at level 80, maybe 1 or 2 more that are getting pretty close, and then a couple other supplemental characters you've leveled up, again, for those challenge stages. Oh, just a brief little aside about my Bianca Veritas. Using some of the resources, I do actually already have her main set for the 6-star memories, so really excited about that, but it's going to be a lot of resources to level her up, so haven't really done a lot into that yet. But that's just a quick aside. So what does it look like after level 80 to continue progressing your characters? Because actually, from the highest that I've heard so far, you can get your battle power pretty close to 8k if you've got all the optimal pieces. Again, we're talking endgame scores here, so just like, chill. You should not be close to 8k right now, having just hit level 80. That's something you're going to continue to work towards. But the question is, how do you continue to increase your battle power? So the first thing is a weapon. If you're still chilling with a 4-star weapon like me, then what you're going to need to do is at the very least get yourself a 5-star weapon for the character. Honestly, for pretty much every character in the game, you can survive with a 5-star. After you get all your 6-star memories to 45, you're going to start resonating your memories. And what this does is you can resonate the specific memory itself with a character, and it gives a bonus to that character permanently as long as they have it equipped. Now, if you can resonate in 2 ways, one of which is just to go ahead and select a duplicate memory. I don't have one right now, but select a duplicate memory of the same kind and it will give you a random resonance. Or if you're saving, like me, these memory resonance material pickers, you can use them as an item and then choose the skill that you want. But as you can see here, you're gonna need to resonate 12 times on one character just to get the max resonance skills. On your main carries, you're typically going to try and resonate on all 12 of these slots. And if you're just trying to do the memory resonance picker like I have at this stage, because I'm, every 6-star memory still counts, it's going to be a while. But after you get all the resonances, then there is another process called hypertuning. This is where on the resonance skill that you've gotten, it's hypertunable, where you can then spend resources to increase the effect of that resonance. And it's pretty expensive to do that. And it takes a while to get all the resources, and there's a lot of specific type resources. However, there are these crystals that you can get from like weekly challenges and other ways that save up as well. As you can see, I've got a couple here, almost 2 hypertunes available on crystals alone. But that's saving from the beginning of my account. I haven't used any. This is where the game switches from being a sprint to a marathon. Getting all of these resonances, getting all of these hypertunes is gonna take a while. And that's kind of the late game slog. to continue to increase your battle power, to continue to push yourself in the challenges, That's what you're gonna do. So what should you focus on? First thing you're gonna focus on after level 80 is, again, on your main DPS, on your main team. Something else you'll have to start taking into consideration after level 80 and you're really wanting to push those later challenges is you're gonna have to start thinking about elemental types and your team compositions. Early game, again, up to level 80, I haven't really needed to worry about team compositions because your main DPS can carry you pretty much through everything. But if you want to start pushing some of the challenge stages farther, getting higher scores and actually progressing on the other challenge stages, you're going to need to put more into your team compositions. But again, simplified, focus on your main DPS first, and then you can start to look at your support characters after that. If you're curious about what resonance skills to put in on your characters after you've got your ideal set, there are some great guides out there that tell you what's best in slot for the different characters. I know SpiderTube's got some great tutorials that I've been looking at. Make sure to go check those out. Another part of progression from here is you finally unlock your cubs. This is the pet system within Punishing Gray Raven. You get one A rank cub right out the gate, the Yuan Yi, and it's gonna have a passive skill and an active skill that you can select and customize what you want to be there, but you can start getting the materials to level your pet up as well. And to get new pets, they have been added into the gacha on the Cub Target Unit Booster, and you get an S rank unit every 20 pulls. I believe it's still 2,500. It is 2,500 to do on 10 pulls, so the same rate as the other banners. And again, the pet you're going to want to go for is very much going to be based on the character that you're working on. I can't tell you what's going to be best for you entirely because it's very character dependent. Something to think about there. But that's another aspect to increasing your level. Hey, quick little side note, make sure to like and subscribe. It always helps support the channel. So something else that you're going to start focusing on after you've reached level 80 is the guide system. You will then be promoted to an instructor at level 83 and you can start recruiting different players to come be your recruits. If you're interested, I've got 3 open slots, and what I'll do is I'm going to leave them open when this video goes live. Feel free to shoot some applications out there. Then we'll just kind of come on a first come first serve basis. Also, I want to give a quick shout out. This player right here, Unknown, shout out to you. They added me when I first started making YouTube content for the game. I switched over to being their recruit. They've just been great. So shout out to Unknown. It's hilarious that your name is Unknown, but yeah, you've been great. Thank you very much. Back to the guide missions, but the real incentive here is that as you continue to get students and they graduate, you get more currency for the gacha system. You can see here you get basic R&D construct tickets, and you basically get a point for every student that graduates. Graduating is level 80, I believe. Once they hit level 80, you get these. It might be 83. But then you're going to continue to get these, and so as a free-to-play player, definitely going to be wanting to get these, and I would encourage you to do so as well. The next thing that I wanted to talk about quickly is the dorm. At level 80, the dorm isn't going to change much. You're going to continue to just farm the decor coins, residence permits, and dorm coins to continue just to get passive resources here, adding more dormitories, doing more customization. I've almost done my next dormitory theme here. Yeah, you're just going to continue chipping away at that. The next thing I wanted to talk about briefly is the story. Now, I would expect by the time that you reach level 80, you could be farther in the story than I am. I slowed down in the story because I was doing it for content reasons, wanting to really take the story in more. If you're just like, skipping through everything, powering through, you could fly through this. But no, especially as these last couple chapters have really shifted in the story, I'm getting more and more into it. So really taking my time, and the story modes really start to change in terms of like how they work. The very early stages, it's very much just like linear, boom, 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 mission, mission, mission. These ones, there's more to them. There's more additional effects, a slightly more non-linear storytelling and exploration, and it's really fun. I'm excited to continue to get into this. So as you can see here, I'm on chapter 13, Fake Ascension. Just finished chapter 12, the Kowloon Metropolis. That was sad. If you know, you know. Genuinely sad when I got through that story. That's all I'm going to say about that to avoid spoilers here. Where I think late game gameplay is really going to change for players, though, is on these challenge stages and in the challenge war. So there's the Norman Revival plan, where you're going to continue to play through this, get out the ore, and use these materials to upgrade your cub pets. You can play through the Golden Vortex, but again, the Golden Vortex are just first time clears, so you'll probably end up clearing those and then running out of resources there. But where you're really going to start fighting for progression is going to be on the Phantom Pain Cage and the War Zone. So on the War Zone, within every phase, you are trying to get a certain score. And if you are, I think it's just the top 3 scorers in your grouping for Warzone, you then get promoted to the next tier. If you're higher tier, you get more rewards. And what you're going to start to do, this stage is for it increases fire damage by 30%. So you're going to start shaping fire teams around this to really increase your scores every week. And that's what's going to help you to push farther in the Warzone. And that's where those elemental teams are going to start coming into play more. You know, here's another example with physical damage too, in wanting to push that. Pre-level 80, you're really only focused on just clearing it because you want to get the weekly rewards. But now that you can easily clear it and you're wanting to get those other resources, you're going to be trying to build teams to push this farther to get more out of that. Phantom Pain Cage is very similar. It's just slightly different approach in that there's the AP system for the different characters. So certain characters can only be used, I believe it's 5 times. You're going to have to start creating characters targeted for certain bosses so you can get higher scores and push that farther as well. And then something that'll be rotating, every patch or so, is we're going to be getting different events like the Babel Tower Nocturnal Path event, the Limit Break event, and these events I think are really going to start to become the core of your gameplay, especially once you clear the story and you're just focusing on the challenges and on these events. This is where the main gameplay is going to start to lie. And I will say, some of these events are really hard. Like for example, on the Babel Tower here, you get to go in and change the difficulty of it, as well as change these other variables in the challenge, like giving the enemies more health. And the more you do that, you increase your score. And then if you get a higher score, you get more rewards. And when you are actually setting these challenges to be at the highest tier, it's hard. And what's really nice about the events is not all of them, but many of them are not stamina based. So you can actually go in and just continue to play, continue to try and get higher scores, continue to, fine tune your combat skills and your teams to really get those high scores. Even at level 80, I will say there's still a lot of content to do. Now, some of you might be thinking as we're talking about this, Connor, I've already been focusing on these things. I've already been doing these challenge modes. Obviously. But what I really want to hammer home here is, the story has a limited amount of content in it. And once you get through the story, that's all there is. So that's when you're going to fall on the Warzone Pain Cage and those rotating events as your kind of core gameplay to hold you over until the next patch and more story comes out. So I just wanted everyone to be aware of that. So again, to quickly recap those 5 things to focus on. 1, you will become an instructor in the guide, bring on recruits, and continue to get more free currency. Continue to progress your characters. You'll be finally able to get them to 80 to max out their skills, and then start polishing their memories and getting the 6-star ideal sets, and then start resonating those memories and then hypertuning those memories. Quick little sub note to character progression. Continue to build your pets now. Your pets are new. You're going to have almost 0 progress on them, but you can start getting the resources by either pulling on the gacha or through free-to-play means and getting the resources for that. Guild and Dorm, they pretty much stay the same. You're going to continue to chip away at those on the dailies and on the challenges as they rotate in, and try and progress as far as you can. 3, story, continue to clear the story. And again, I would say the story does get really good. So maybe pump the brakes a little bit on progress and start to take the story in, because like I said before, around chapter 12, it's great. And actually, really, even the couple chapters before that were really good too. Chapter 12 was just really good. And again, there's extra stories, interludes, stronghold, lots to do. 4, the challenge modes. Continue to grind out the Norman Revival Plan, Pain Cage, and Warzone. Really do what you can to push those high scores in Warzone so you can continue to get promotions. And you're going to do that through the character progression and starting to build your elemental teams. Focus on that team so you can push those scores. If you're able to push Warzone with your characters, that's going to have a ripple effect on the Pain Cage, so just continue to do that. And then the events. The events are going to be your primary form of content after the story is completed, the challenges and events. So get cozy, because that's where you're going to be spending a lot of your time. And again, they're really good. Most of them are not stamina based. You can really get unlimited play on a lot of them and really push the challenge if you want to. So great content there. So that's it, guys. That's all the stuff to really focus on after you've hit level 80 and how you're going to start to see the game shift and how I've already started to see the game shift. So that's it for the video today, guys. I hope that was helpful just to get an idea of how the game changes after level 80. And again, those 5 areas to focus on as you continue to grind out the game. If you've made it this far in the video, again, make sure to like and subscribe. It always helps support the channel. And what do you think? Is there anything that I missed in how the game changes after level 80? Let me know in the comments down below. If there are any corrections that need to be made, you'll find it in the pinned comment down below. But again, I hope you've enjoyed this Punishing Gray Raven video, and we'll see you next time.